Like a Hellcat.
That's a little bit better. It is a stunner from Fabio Quagliarella. Come again for Jacko, who's in for Roma and scores.
Ciao ragazzi, and welcome to another edition of Serie Sitdown, World Football Index's podcast of Calcio Told Like It Is. I'm Frank Ravello. He is the freshly coiffed Richard Carmen. Ciao, Richard.
Ciao, Frank. How are we doing this evening, huh?
The Kevin Karanye lookalike contest must have ended, and you didn't win.
I didn't win, so I chopped it all off in spite. Yeah, I feel 10 pounds lighter, maybe more. So yeah.
I wish cutting off all my hair would make me 10 pounds lighter, but that ain't happening. Maybe an ounce. So
got to grow it out first, see?
yeah. I guess that's the strategy, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. How are we doing tonight? Good.
we're good. Back on Sundays, Richard. We're back on Sundays.
Yeah. Back on the normal kick. I guess it's normal kick. It's not so normal anymore. But yeah, back to Sunday nights. Good time. Right after the game, that's still fresh in our minds. It's all good.
Shout out to Alex Dono for having me again on Onside Radio on his Man of the Match program on Friday. And
Nice.
he, I let him know and just that we were back to Sunday nights, and he was excited about the fact that the content would be a lot more fresh in our minds, and how we were going to break it all down and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said that I said, yes, for you, but for me, that just means a lot less time to prepare, and I have to cram in all of the, review everything that happened and take a look at things and all of that other stuff.
Our takes will be stupider than normal, right?
They'll be fresh takes, but they won't be as intelligent and as
Well thought
digested as they were on a Tuesday night. So I hope everybody
right.
can forgive us a little bit. So
That's right. Tyler Sharma's in the house, of course, always first one in the chat. He's hyped for Sunday night show, and we are too. It's been a while.
Tyler gets first in the chat like he thinks there's a prize for it or something like that. But we appreciate it nonetheless, Tyler. Glad to have you with us.
Well, so one time he doesn't, we'll give out a prize. So just saying.
We should, just despite him. He's an intern. They got plenty to be happy about. They don't need something else sent their way. So
yeah.
Most of Inter Twitter are winning our Who Won Calcio Twitter every week, and all of these other things. So, but nonetheless, great to have you with us. If you are watching us, please join the chat. We'd love to know who you are, where you're coming from. Please drop a like and subscribe so that you can get notified whenever we go live on the air, or if we're going to drop additional videos to this. Usually Richard will find stuff here and make little clips, little snippets that can be for your viewing and listening pleasure. So the Calcio guys are here. Good to see you guys. Good to have you with us.
Absolutely.
What we will do is break down everything that went down on match day 30. We do have one more game that's going to take place on Monday, but we'll go through the 9 games and 24 goals that took place, what we saw, how we feel about it, and what it means as it shapes up the business end of the Serie A season as we're in the middle of it. We will take a look at that Benevento Sassuolo game on Monday. We will preview leg 2, Richard, of Roma Ajax in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Obviously, the surprise win for Roma by 2-1. So now in a very, very good position to qualify for the semifinals, where in all likelihood they would face Manchester United. So an opportunity for them potentially, if they can still overcome Ajax, to see if they can fare any better against Man United than Milan did. And then, of course, we will end it with the world's most popular hashtag game, Who Won Calcio Twitter, and we are loaded thanks to a certain video clip featuring a ball boy and Calafiori. So,
yeah.
And I just saw that and I just grabbed it and I said, okay, my people, come on, get with it. Do your best on this. What is this a metaphor of? So we kind of did it. We kind of did a little side action here. We'll see if one of those might win it. It might be something else totally off the cuff. We got a bunch of nominees to go through. We almost were getting ready to just have this be an entire Who Won Calcio Twitter podcast. But
Who won Calafiori, right?
Yeah. Winner gets Calafiori?
Yeah. That's a
I don't know. We don't have that kind of pull.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
We don't have that kind of pull. So.
No.
But nonetheless, let's dive into it. The fun began on Saturday with something I guess that you could call, a bit of a relegation 6-pointer, although I think Crotone is in more than enough trouble, but Spezia definitely would need this game, to enhance their chances of survival in their first season of asking. Great game here. We, in the 40th minute, a goal of the week candidate, Kofi Gigi, little bit of a back to goal, just flicking it over Providel and putting Crotone ahead by a 1-0, just 5 minutes before halftime. 63rd minute, that man again, Daniele Verdi, not as spectacular as what he did a week before, but important nonetheless. They all do count the same. 1-1 at that point. Simi scores again in the 78th minute. It is 2-1 for Crotone. Giulio Maggiore scoring in the 89th minute, and then in the 92nd minute, what a dramatic game and a dramatic 3 points here for Spezia. They win 3-2 over Crotone. They get to 32 points. This is a team that we all thought were going to be bottom of the table in Serie A this season, but in great shape to survive at this point.
10 points up.
Yeah, 10 points from safety, or 10 points from danger, let's say.
Yeah.
Parma and Milan, and in the 8th minute, Ante Rebic, goal of the week candidate, beautiful turn in finish in the 8th minute there, played in by Zlatan Ibrahimovic, making it 1-0. They would double their lead just before halftime. Frank Kessie, a bit of nice team play, delicate little layoff by Teo Hernandez, finished by Kessie, making it 2-0. 60th minute, Maresca doing Maresca things, and Zlatan may or may not have said something about Maresca's mother and got sent off for it in the 60th minute. So that put Milan down to 10 men. Riccardo Gagliolo getting a goal back for Parma. Parma doing the pressing here down the stretch in this game before the very last minute where Diego Dolo won a tackle. Yeah, Diego Dolo won a tackle. Strange. It's 2021. It's an extension of 2020.
It is.
And he plays in Rafael Leao, only the goalkeeper for Leao to beat 3-1 to the Rossoneri to keep their grip on second position. Udinese and Torino. Udinese, despite all of their efforts, all of their possession, I'd say they got shithoused. A Andrea Belotti penalty winning that for the Granata. And then if you got up early in the morning, Alex Dono did. Tyler Sharma got up for this. Most of you did. Inter 1, Cagliari 0. A lot of pissing and moaning on Inter's performance with the way things were going here against a pretty resolute Cagliari side. This kid, this Guglielmo Vicario in goal.
Vicario, yeah.
Very, very impressive debut. Had it not been for him, Inter probably walked this. But nonetheless, the kid comes good. But Matteo Darmian coming even better in the 77th minute to give Inter the narrow 1-0 win. Let's start with the team at the top, Richard. Inter, I said on Alex's radio show on Friday, something that I always say here on Serie A Sit Down, Inter supporters, Inter Twitter, Interisti, It ain't about style points. It's about 3 points.
Yeah, and we talked about this last podcast too, right? They said the way from here on out is this shithousing the way. Basically, it's he's not going to win pretty. He's just going to win. That's all he cares about. It's kind of what Allegri's recipe was when he was so successful at Juventus. It's not about style points. It's just about getting the victory. Yes, they have probably the best attack in Serie A and probably the best defense and so on and so forth. But it doesn't matter at this point. At this point, keep the goose egg as best you can and get the win. That's all that matters. And right now, I mean, they got an 11-point lead on second place. So, they just marching steady. And if you're Interisti, just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Right now, you're just in cruise control and just enjoy the rest of the season here. Stop worrying so much.
Interesting to me that this was an Inter that was put in a situation where they had more of the ball. I had been saying, we said on Tuesday night that, it may not come as a surprise that Inter could be inferior in possession, in every game for the rest of the season because they don't need to have the ball in these games. They're so good.
Just look at the midweek against Sassuolo, right? Sassuolo dominated possession, but that meant nothing.
Yep, and that's exactly. And if you were watching us or listening to our podcast, getting ready for that game, we told you that is exactly what was going to happen. Richard got the score right. I didn't. I thought Inter would get a third. So sue me.
It's scary how right I get Inter all the time now. I got to get them out of my head. I'm waiting for the offseason.
Well, no, just when it's the Milan derby, keep that quality about you. And when we get to the Derby della Madonnina,
okay.
Predict some. Don't get greedy, but like 2-1 to Milan, or
I'll try
1-0, things like that, and us Milanisti.
Of course, I lost the hair, so I may have lost my predictability or prediction thing here. So
you never had it. Well,
that's true.
You're on a pretty good path to Inter first, Atalanta second, as you said at the beginning of the season. That's very much in play.
Yes.
But so it was interesting seeing how they could try to work their way around. I mean, I think they looked rather comfortable. They can play that way if they're put in a position to. They're not as prolific in those moments and in those situations, and almost like when you're prepared to play Inter, it's almost like you want them to have the ball. Because whenever I see, I think of the two Shakhtar games in the Champions League. Inter had superiority in both of those games, and they couldn't get a goal. These games where they're seeing more of the ball, it's
closer.
It's a little bit more of a struggle. They love allowing Lautaro and Lukaku to have the space.
Yeah.
And to be able to just kind of stay behind what you're doing, throwing guys forward, and then when it's there, boom, off they go. And they're so well connected, in how they play. So it was interesting for a change to again watch them in possession to see if they figured anything out. And again, and we've been saying this all season long, Inter is a team that is going to be far more dangerous when they're inferior in possession than when they are when they have it.
Yeah, and then, even with their counterattack, having the wingback play is very crucial for them. Obviously, with Hakimi down the right-hand side, either Ashley Young or Darmian on the left, and it's very pivotal to the way they succeed. And we saw one of the goals, the Darmian goal, assist by Hakimi, a perfect example of that, right? So they can get you any kind of way. They got the counter goal with Arturo as well, and so it's Inter find ways to win it, whether it's against we saw midweek or today. Or yesterday, I guess, just to say, their bread and butter is the counterattack, like you mentioned. It's been Conte's, bread and butter for forever. So yeah, I would agree with you. I think if you play Inter, your best chance is to give them the ball, and then you play on the counter and make them a little bit off easy. I mean, it's not going to be easy against them. They're good from top to bottom, but you have a better chance that way, I think.
I mean, and let's not, don't get us wrong here. I mean, Inter created some good chances, when they had the ball. They just don't feel as dangerous when you watch them play.
That's because they're so clinical on the counter. That's why.
Right. I mean, and Lukaku, it feels like if you can crowd him, he has a few more issues than if he has space, or if he has the ability to work, or is back to goal against a defender, and in those particular situations. I mean, he still got his. He still had a couple of chances. Cagliari limited him a little bit, so they did a good job on him. But that, by doing so, that gave chances to players in the midfield. Christian Eriksen and Stefano Sensi were ever present, just around that 18-yard area and just hammering away chances that just, look. Or it was Sanchez who started. Lautaro came on as a sub, but. the forwards kind of get crowded out. There isn't a lot of space for him to work with. Balls are coming back to guys like Eriksson and Sensi, and they're getting their chances from distance. And these, not bad to have those guys taking those chances.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So, let me look at these Saturday games. Spezia, we already talked about. I mean, this is massive for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
On their way now. I mean, it would be an astonishing collapse for them to be relegated at this point. Yeah. So I think a lot of credit going out to Vincenzo Italiano, the job he did. I mean, I think when you talk about manager of the season, I think there'll be a lot of a lot of the plaudits are going to go Antonio Conte's way, and Absolutely. Antonio Conte will probably end up being the manager of the season, and that is fine.
Yeah.
But Vincenzo Italiano should be in the conversation because nobody I talked to had a kind thing to say about the Spezia team in terms of their prospect for survival, and here they are, 10 points clear of the drop. Italiano has done well with the resources that he's had to work with. Yep. Do you find him to be a guy that is ready for a bigger opportunity? And by bigger, I don't mean top 6, but one of these mid-table teams that's looking to make that European push. If they've figured this is as far as we can go with this guy or that guy, that Italiano could be the guy that steps in. Would that be something that some of these middling clubs might want to consider? An Udinese, a Fiorentina, right? So should they be taking a look at this guy and, if they think that they can get him, make that kind of move?
They certainly should. I think every mid-table team should be looking at him because of the work he's done with Spezia. Do I think he's ready for it? I don't know. I kind of want to see him do it. It's a difficult situation here because I think I kind of want to see him stay at Spezia and do another season and prove that he can build upon that with the current squad.
Yeah.
But there's also that chance that maybe to do far worse next year and then he loses that opportunity, right? So do you strike while the iron's hot? Or do you get another chance and try to and continue to try to build it? That's a tough question for him. But I would personally like to see him stay at Spezia and try to improve upon this season. It worked wonders with Juric. And now he's doing really great things at Hellas. So I mean we'll see. But I think every mid-table team should certainly look at him because Spezia have been tough from the beginning and have only gotten better as the season's gone on. Like they found ways to come back in several games. We saw this game obviously down and came back and won this game. I mean, 2 goals late. So they're finding ways, and it's credit's got to go to the manager for that 100%.
Yeah. Second season syndrome. Do you stay and go down with the ship, or do you cash it? Do you cash in your chips now and get into a better position? So that's going to be an interesting one to watch in the summertime. Logic would tell you, conventional wisdom would tell you that he'll remain loyal and remain with Spezia and at least fight it out another season. But we shall see. He could be a name on the lips of clubs in Serie A that might be looking for a manager.
I think it depends on how many guys does he lose, right? Because a lot of teams are going to come for their guys now, and you wonder how many people they can keep a hold of. If they can keep a hold of majority of their guys, why not stay? Right. If they're losing five players or more, maybe it is time to move on. So that depends, I think, heavily on his decision whether to stay or find better pastures, greener pastures, right?
Right. I mean, how is he? Let's see. I'm thinking about guys like Matteo Ricci. Matteo Ricci has been with Spezia. I'm not sure if he's owned by a bigger club,
right?
But Ricci is a player that's an example that probably will attract some interest.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Mbala and Zola. Daniele Verde has resurrected his career somewhat here, especially over the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
Emmanuel Giassi is a guy that I rate. I mean, I rate some of the guys on this team. Pobega's Milan's property.
Yep.
But the left back here, Ricardo Marquezza, is useful too.
Got assists today.
Yep. So a talented player. A talented player for them, and I think that he has been on the books at Spezia for a while too. Yeah, he has. So, how many of these guys do they continue the project? Do they keep it going, or do they cash in on some of these guys? And does Italiano cash in on his situation too?
Yeah.
Milan, good performance here from them. They a lot of this possession, Milan dominated, really controlled the first half, dominated, had great chances. Parma were relatively dangerous going the other way. I felt nothing to get totally crazy about. Obviously, this game changed on the Ibrahimovic red card. Now, I do believe Milan are going to try to appeal this because they're of the belief that Ibra didn't say anything or do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I've read a couple of different stories. I'm still trying to kind of get, totally into that and find out what the deal was here. But I'm giving Milan half a chance with being successful in this appeal because of who the referee is. This is the same guy that sent off. Remember the Chievo Juventus game?
Yeah.
This is the same guy that sent off Cacciatore, and when Cacciatore was clearly fouled in the penalty area and Maresca didn't give it, and then Cacciatore just went on this tantrum. Like he had his, he did the thing with the arms crossed, and then Maresca sent him off. And then that just changed the game. Chievo were down to 10 men. So, we have a referee who has made some very interesting decisions and has a history of making some very interesting decisions, which kind of gives Milan half a chance at Ibra being able to appeal the suspension here.
Yeah, I think so too, but I'm still curious to hear what he said. Because it's rare that you get a straight red card from talking. Well, Milan have had a couple this year already, but I'm curious. I definitely want to wait to see what the results are from that. But Milan played well nonetheless. Obviously, Frank Kessie, one of the team MVPs, along with Donnarumma, arguably, and Zlatan. He played well. The team played fairly well. Good to see Benacer getting his mojo back. It seemed like getting some more pitch time is going to help him as well. And Donnarumma making some big saves, had a big double save in the game. I think that really helped keep Milan on the front foot because Parma did come and push a couple times in this game, and if not for those two big saves, who knows what this game could have gone.
Sure, no doubt about it. I thought Benacer played really well. It was nice to see him. It looks like he's starting to get it back together a little bit. He's not 90 minutes ready yet, but it was important to see him perform. I think, Cialanolo, there was a question about. We're going to get to some listener questions here at the end of all of these recaps, so we'll touch on those then. Cialanolo is going to be a guy we're going to talk about in that conversation. Kessie was the best player in the game.
11 goals now.
What's that?
I said 11 goals now. I mean, 9 of them are penalties, but still.
This one
goals.
wasn't a penalty. It was a well-crafted team effort, type of goal. And then Donnarumma had that huge double save, and then among a couple of other big saves that he made in this game. So, an important 3 points for Milan. I mean, that's what you got to do when you're playing these teams that look like they're dead and buried. You've got to bury them. They certainly took that chance. I don't know how much we have to talk about Udinese and Torino.
That was a struggler.
It's a huge 3 points for Torino. I mean, they on the back of getting the point from Juventus in the derby to follow it up with getting a smash. This is a smash and grab for Torino here.
And now they're 5 points in safety. That's huge at 3 points
with a game in hand. And I believe that game in hand is it Benevento or is it? It might be Lazio.
I think it's Lazio. So that'll be an interesting game. That'll be that could be a bigger game because Lazio still are playing for trying to get the Champions League, trying to position themselves for the Europa League as well. So it's gonna be a big game for both clubs. Stay tuned for that. Yeah, that's gonna be a pivotal game for both teams. Prospects for the remainder of the season, no doubt about it. So, but if they win that one, now all of a sudden they're 8 points clear of. Cagliari and Cagliari just we played bravely here against Inter today. Had some great goalkeeping, as we said, and had a couple of key performances in some other spots. But man, I mean, just we keep harping on them. This is I can't remember a bigger team of underachievers relative to their quality over the last handful of years than what we're seeing with Cagliari this season. Yeah, I mean, you could argue Fiorentina, last year or whatever, when they were flirting with relegation was also as bad, but they survived. That's a big thing. And Cagliari are not going to survive at this point. I mean, it looks like relegation's all but set at this moment, which is unfortunate because usually that's one of the best races of the year. It's still a little bit early, but yeah, it's unreal the amount of what kind of quality players they have on this team and where they're at in the table.
Yeah, there's a question related to that too, but there's going to be some very, very good players on that Cagliari team that are going to come available if relegation is the path that they go. So, all right, take us through Multicalcio to the rest of Sunday.
All right, so starting it off, we got Hellas Verona hosting Lazio. This game we knew it was gonna be a difficult game no matter what. You got a team with like a defense like Verona, maybe not so much lately, and then Lazio is still trying to gather their points and try to make a push for Europa League, try to stay ahead of their city rivals. This game had lots of opportunities in this game. I mean, well, there was almost a goal of the week candidate. If this goal counted by Felipe Caicedo, I think this would have been goal of the week. But his elbow got in the way. Goal wasn't counted. But nonetheless, they kept playing. Lazio trying to get the 3 points. They needed the 3 points in this game. Didn't look like it was going to come at all because Hellas was trying to stand tall in this one. But in stoppage time, in the 92nd minute, SMS Sergei Milinkovic-Savic gets a header, outjumps everybody, gets a header right on goal. They win 1-0 at the death. Great 3 points for Lazio that puts them ahead of Roma for the time being. Moving on, Juventus hosting Genoa. These were actually a nice game for Juventus in terms of goals. First goal started off in the first 4 minutes of the game. Some nice passing, Quadrado to Kulusevski. Kulusevski gets a nice left-footed shot, goal of the week candidate. 1-0 at that point. They would follow it up in the 22nd minute. Morata, more nice team play, another goal of the week candidate. It was a crazy set of plays that led to this, but goal nonetheless. 2-0 at that point, and then Scamacca would get one back. He thought he had one just before the half to make it 2-1, but no, it didn't go in. Other side of the break, gets a goal, 2-1. Maybe you have a game in here, but Weston McKennie put it away in the 70th minute. Juve win 3-1, 1 point now behind Milan in third place. Team just behind them, Sampdoria hosting Napoli. Napoli, of course, is the one I'm talking about, who are in fifth place. This game was begging for goals. We knew goals were going to happen, and of course, it's Fabian Ruiz, right? He's going to lead the goal scoring, assisted by Zielinski, but a fantastic shot, fantastic goal. It's goal of the week candidate, team goal here, wonderful. Fabian Ruiz puts it away, 1-0 going into halftime, and it would take until late in the game where another nicely worked play. Osimhen gets the goal in the 87th minute. 2-0. Big game for Audero. Had a lot of saves in this game, but all for naught. I mean, Napoli really are bringing the pressure in this one. They win 2-0 going away. Roma hosting Bologna. Roma win 1-0, a goal by Mayoral in the 44th minute, but don't let that fool you. Bologna came in and brought it. They really bit the bullet on this one. They had many opportunities to get a goal past Pau Lopez, but they kept missing their opportunities all throughout the game long. Both goalkeepers came up big in this one, but I think Bologna had one. They were ready to play in this one, and they just the final goal, the one goal, just kept evading them, and they ended up losing this game 1-0 to Roma. And then the last game of my batch, the game that we thought could have some goals, and it certainly did. Fiorentina hosting Atalanta. Goal scoring started early in the 13th minute. Zapata would get the goal from Malinovsky. From then on, just before halftime, Zapata got his second goal. I mentioned him for a goal. Mentioned for the Capocannoniere, even though he's way behind. He's like 10, 14 behind Ronaldo here. But anyway, Malinovsky gets an assist on that one as well. So 2-0 going into halftime. Coming out of the break, Vlahovic decided to get in on the action, gets a goal in the 57th minute. Goal of the week candidate in the 66th minute. Christian Kouame just doing beautiful things. Lovely assist to Vlahovic for the goal in the 66th. We got 2-2. Got a game all of a sudden. Just minutes later, though, Ilicic, there's a penalty in the Fiorentina end. Ilicic would step up, gets the goal past Dragowski, Atalanta would win 3-2 on the road. Big points by them because they keep pace with Juventus as well. So that rounds up my batch, Frank. Where do you want to start with this one? Because let's start with that last game, Fiorentina Atalanta. A lot of goals in that game. Two guys vying for hat tricks in that one. Pretty entertaining game from what I saw. What did you make of that game?
Excellent performance from both teams. I mean, in terms of how they were going to carry things out. Fiorentina, very good on the counter.
Dragowski, 6 saves in the game. I mean, he had a big game as well.
And then Dragowski keeping them in it, no doubt about it. Is it 6 or was it 5? I think it was 5. Let me see here. Yeah, I got 5 here. So, the only thing that could hinder Atalanta from a top 4 finish, and I think they're going to finish in the top 4. I'm not. Yeah. Is that defense? They tend to be all over the place. Christian Romero got into a challenge in the first half of this game with Vlahovic, which was very, very. I think yellow was fine. I think that what you heard. This is the problem. This is the issue when you don't have fans at the game. You hear the other touchline selling the referee on it being a red. And I watched that challenge a couple of times and did not come away thinking a red was warranted. Some of the ball got touched there.
I thought yellow was harsh too. I thought it was a good tackle. I thought he did get him, so I can see where the yellow comes in. But anything more than
was appropriate. I think it was
a red was not even question. I thought. I mean, he made a meal of it.
That was more Fiorentina bench bench trying to sell the referee. And
had he got him better, it was a head on bet, more of a direct contact. I think, certainly you could have thought about a red, but he barely got him. But I'm fine with the yellow there. But there's a questionable call also later on in the game where I think Romero again gets involved, and Vlahovic goes flying down on the pitch. It goes the other way, and Zapata ends up scoring the goal. And Fiorentina were screaming for a penalty there or a foul there, and a red card for Romero. That one I thought was nothing on that. I thought Romero, maybe they got tripped up and their feet got together, but then Vlahovic completely dives, in my opinion, and doesn't deserve that call. So I think the good play by the referee not to call that foul on that one, let it play on. Yeah,
Vlahovic is trying to bait Romero into a second yellow there.
Yeah.
There's no question. So, it's Atalanta. It doesn't matter who's on the pitch because and Gasperini subs anybody he wants, and he brings in guys, and those guys come in and score.
I mean, Ilicic came in the second half, right?
Yep, and he scores a penalty. It's the defending. I mean, if they fall out of the top 4, it's because of the defending.
Yeah.
All right. And granted, Fiorentina scored some really nice goals here. I think the first one came on a ball that came back across, and Vlahovic. We saw a lot of good runs in the box that opened up other runs.
Yes.
Okay, on some of these goals this weekend. It's stuff that I'm a big fan of. And in particular, it's great when a player like Vlahovic can read what's going on and sees that he's got a couple of teammates that are already kind of going along that 6-yard area. The top of that 6-yard area has taken some defenders with him. So, okay, I'll hang back because one of two things are going to happen. It can cut back to me, which in this case, that's what happened, or a rebound might fall to me, or a missed clearance might fall to me. So I think that was pretty, for a young striker, I thought that was pretty savvy on his part.
Yeah.
It shows some experience. It shows some very nice awareness, around that 18-yard area. Atalanta's also got to pick that up too. The second goal, Mela, where are you? I mean, Kwame's making this run. He's drawing the defenders. He gets past them. Somebody that was close to Vlahovic now has to come over. It's Mela's responsibility to come over and maybe pick up Vlahovic in that situation, and he's 10 yards away from the play.
Yeah.
It's things like that, and we've seen that all season long from Atalanta from a defensive standpoint. That could potentially be a detriment. Like I said, I still think they're going to finish top 4. But that is a potential detriment to their Champions League chances. They got to figure out how they're going to shore that up. They host Juve coming up. They travel to Roma coming up. Mm-hmm. Two teams are going to be more than happy to expose that, because I'll tell you this, I think Atalanta are going to have the ball in both of those games, and Juve's reasonable on the counterattack. You saw what they did on their second goal against Genoa. Roma, that's their comfort zone. We'll talk about them here shortly. And then you've got some other talented teams in here. Bologna, Sassuolo, definitely are going to be in. And then at the end of the season, Milan. So
yep.
This is a tough this is a tough path, and you're going against some teams that will figure out how to score goals on you, especially when you're that lax as a defense. So I've kind of gotten long-winded about Atalanta, but if you're looking for a detriment for them right now, that's it.
No, Hateboer is going to hurt.
Yeah. Mela has some quality,
Sure.
but he can be had defensively. I think it's underestimated that, Hateboer is a decent individual defender, in addition to his abilities going forward. Mela's strong in terms of going forward, but he can be a liability in 1v1 situations too.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. Looking at the reigning champions, not the one, not the champions of this year, more than likely, but Juventus. I think they put on quite a show against Genoa. If not for Perin, really, they could have put a lot more goals. I thought all 3 goals they scored were nice. Good game overall. It's a team this is a result they should get, right, and this is probably more of what the fans want to see in terms of style and the passing. And Chiesa, he's been brilliant, in the midweek and then today.
Yeah.
The Morata he's quietly one of their better attackers. He just knows how to get past guys. I mean, for a big guy, he goes to guys effortlessly. It seems like.
Yep.
And that's a quality of his technical ability, his vision, and it's just what kind of player he is. And so, overall, I think Cuadrado had a better game. Obviously, with him having a better game, the team played better as well. So, it's a good performance by them, I think. And like I said, if not for Perin, it could have been a bigger scoreline.
Here's what I liked about the first goal. The ball gets overcrossed, and when you coach youth soccer, one of the things you see runs get made in the box, and they're quality runs, right?
Yep.
And then the ball gets overcrossed, and what does everybody do in the box? They just stay where they are and they wait for the next ball.
Yep.
Okay. You have to do what they call recycle your runs. Okay. And so the ball gets overcrossed, and now it comes to Cuadrado. All right. So here's what happened. Morata still stayed home around that 6-yard area and didn't move because he had defenders with him. So that created Chiesa was running in at the 6 on the initial cross. He backs out of there now, kind of looking for that top of the box run. And what that's doing is that's opening up Ronaldo to now come in, because I think it was Ronaldo who had the initial cross. Yeah. All right. So, and what is Genoa doing? I just named off Chiesa, Ronaldo, and Morata, the 3 guys who you think are the most dangerous players. So all of Genoa's players are over there. That opens up, So all of Genoa's defense is concentrated on those 3 guys, and that allows Kulusevski to get into that cutback area. Because you're not going to respect him the way you respect those other 3 Juventus players. Sure. And Cuadrado finds it. And part of the quality of that goal is the pass from Cuadrado. He puts Kulusevski in a position where he has to curl at without taking an extra touch.
Absolutely.
So these are the little details that I like to see when I'm watching a game. But it was smart on the part of Juventus when they changed things up. Morata said, okay, I got all these defenders with me. Cuadrado doesn't have to put the ball here, but these guys are staying with me, so we're good. And then Chiesa gets out of there a little bit, and it lets Ronaldo in. Should Cuadrado want to put the ball on Ronaldo's head, and that can be 2 feet above every Genoa defender because of how high Ronaldo can get up. As an option. So it was smart reading of the game by just about everybody on that goal. So, the counterattack was very clinical. But then, Adam Digby made the comment as he was watching the game, and he said it on Twitter, and I'm paraphrasing him. That 2-0, the Juve that played with the 2-0 lead just disappeared. Genoa could have tied this game. Szczesny made a big save.
He did. I think Genoa only had 2 shots, but the 2 shots were big saves by Szczesny. He needed to make. So,
and it makes you question Juventus right now defensively. I mean, and still a very impressive defensive record on the season, but they're not the defense of old. I mean, they're tied with Inter for fewest goals allowed in the league, but when you look at them, they've been a little lucky.
I think the key word that you just mentioned was old. They're still holding on to Chiellini and Bonucci. Demirel isn't quite ready yet to have it Delict and Demirel. I know that, and you got to keep using Chiellini and Bonucci, but it's old at the moment, and they're going to have these lapses. And not to say those are the ones to blame, right? But the defense as a whole needs to get better. Cuadrado as a right back is not the answer. He's played well there at times. He's played poor there at times, and then the left back as well. And having help with the midfielders, it is not the defense of old, but they're still a great record. I mean, it's one of the top 3 defenses in the league this year, outside of Inter and maybe Hellas or something like that. But so nothing to scoff at, but still not the team we're used to seeing over the last 10 years or whatever.
Sure. We're a 2-0 lead under Allegri, forget it. You're not getting a goal. I mean, you're not getting back in this game.
Exactly.
He's closing it out. Everybody knows exactly how to go through the rest of the game, and they basically suffocate. They basically just they suck the life out of the game.
Yeah.
That's not this Juve for some reason. So. And I think that there have been a lot of moments when they've been without the ball, when they've been in defensive situations where they've been very lucky, to be tied with Inter for fewest goals conceded this season.
Is that also a product though of Pirlo ball, where he wants to play a more entertaining style, and so something you got to give up is that defensive shutdown thing. And I think he'll learn as he gets more experience is that you need to have that switch where you go from all beautiful play to let's shut up shop and let's get this result here, because I think that's what they're missing at the moment, and that they're trying to play entertaining, beautiful football, but they're lacking that defensive responsibility, that discipline. And I think once he gets that, maybe you're not going to be playing the same way after 2-0, but at least shut up the shop like Allegri used to do, and find his way to do it. And at the moment, his team is lacking that, and so when they figure that out, they'll be even better than they are now. So.
I think he got things a little more under control when they brought McKennie back. When they brought McKennie on,
certainly.
Because then now you've got McKennie, Rabiot, and Bentancur operating there in the middle of the park, where they can kind of close things up. And I think that that's the one thing with Pirlo, is that he was smart enough to recognize that after the Scamacca goal.
Frank, did I lose you?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scamacca had to get down, or Scamacca, I think it was Scamacca who had the shot.
Yes.
And Szczesny had to get down for it.
Yep.
So that has happened more than enough for Juve fans. They can't be comfortable with it.
No.
But good recognition on Pirlo's part to introduce McKennie and have a third man in the center of the park to try to limit some of that, give a little bit more protection for the back line, because they were under pressure against Genoa. And then obviously McKennie was the one that was sprung forward on the counter to get the third goal and to wrap up the 3 points. So there are moments where Pirlo looks good as a manager, and there are moments where I think when Juve has a failure, it's like he's the scapegoat right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I don't know how fair that is, because, like I said, I think there's moments where he's made some pretty good decisions as a manager, and shows that he's capable. But then there's also, when it goes bad, he's the first one they go after. You never see these players get blasted for their performances. I hardly ever see it from Juventini.
The perils of being at a big club. It's always going to be the manager who's a scapegoat and the one who gets applauded at times as well. You're right. With any of the top clubs, I think, whenever things go wrong, it's why did the manager fail to do this? Why did the manager fail to do that? And then, they never look at the players, especially if you got, players, like Ronaldo on your team, Morata. Why are you going to look at them? They've had a history of doing great things. So, you give them a benefit of the doubt, especially when it's a new manager too. But even then, so, I mean, you look at Pioli, who's been around for a while, and he's gotten many criticism for bad performances as well. So, yeah, it's just what happens when you play at a big club. The expectations of the manager are unrealistic at times. We've seen it in many leagues and many top teams, is when you don't perform, sometimes you get the axe too quickly. Now, Juventus is not that type of club, but the criticism is absolutely there when you don't play to what the chief expects you to play and what the fans expect you to play, right? Yeah. So, it just comes with the territory, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Did you know that Sergei goal was the only shot on goal the entire game between Verona and Lazio?
Yeah, it's crazy. Milinkovic-Savic had the team had some opportunities that all missed wide. Like I said, Caicedo had a goal that was a great goal, but it was taken away because it wasn't high elbow. Milinkovic-Savic had a great opportunity in the first half where he kind of had to react all of a sudden and take a shot. It was close, but it was off target. So many of their opportunities were way off target, and finally they get something on target and it's a goal. Yeah. So it's surprising that it's surprising, but it's not, because you watch the game like we did. And you're like, okay, I thought many shots were going on, but on target, it was only just that one. So,
yeah, I mean, when you look at a 1-0 scoreline with these two teams and with what Hellas could do going the other way, you're thinking, okay, Silvestri probably had to make about 4 or 5 saves in this game. Reyna probably played on his head. Yeah. But no, I mean, chances were just wasted.
And that's what it was.
From both teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until Sergey got the goal.
Both teams had good movement too. It's just the shots were poor and they weren't on target.
Yep. Roma in this game and in the first leg against Ajax, this is where Roma is good. Roma is good when they're uncomfortable. Okay, Roma is good when they don't have the ball. I mean. And the goal was kind of a fluke. I mean, and Meyer actually did really
great
well.
Goal. I mean, goal of the week candidate.
The goalkeeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, this is what I would think a Roma Bologna game would be like. Bologna is going to come forward. They're going to create chances, a lot of quality, put some pressure, and Roma will win the ball and hit on the break. And it happened in the Ajax Roma game. Roma's. There you are. We're having some that hamster. You didn't feed the hamster. Supposed to keep going on.
Me or you?
Yeah, I think it's you.
You've been freezing them on.
I think it's you. So. I think it's because Michael Lisi just arrived this time.
Yeah.
I can blame it on that.
The wave forces are just too much.
Oh my.
I think Bologna in that game, I felt it was a little of a letdown from Roma, and I know that was the game plan that they wanted, but Bologna had way too many opportunities in this one. I thought that Bologna really blew some chances. I thought they could have easily gotten a goal or two if it wasn't for their own, idiocracy. I don't know what I want to say there, but
Idiocracy is idiocy.
It was a good movie. It's a movie.
Idiocy.
Idiocy. Yeah, I was thinking of the movie.
You're the polyglot. I'm correcting you.
Thank you. I never said English is my first language. Well, it is my first, whatever. But yeah, no, I think Bologna blew a lot of opportunities in this game, and Roma were playing with house money, were playing with fire, I think, and they got away with one, I think. But the goal was brilliantly done. And it is, to your credit, it is what they wanted in this game. We saw it with the Ajax match as well, with the counterattack. But they made it. They gave way too many opportunities for Bologna, I think, and had it been a better team, it could have been a much different result.
Federico Fazio was part of a defense that got a clean sheet today.
That's amazing.
That's astonishing.
I should be player of the week for that.
Well, I mean, and I think that's another reason why Bologna had all the superiority. It's like, all right, we've got this bum that has to play back here. We're going to have to protect him.
Yeah.
And that's what they did, really. I mean, but did you notice, I mean, the majority of Bologna's some of Bologna's more dangerous chances came from getting the ball down in that area and getting it to where Andreas Skov-Olsen was.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so it's no secret. It's like, all right, let's put some pressure on this guy because he stinks. This time he came good. I mean, but you can't. I mean, and that's the other part of the game plan. When you got a guy like that, it reminds me of. Dodgeball, where it tells the guy that Stephen Root plays, and he said, you're the only guy left and you stink something awful. Yeah, and you're going to have to come up with something. You're going to have to get angry. And this kind of Roma's case said, we've got this guy back here and he stinks something awful. We're going to have to let Bologna have the ball so that we can be around him to help him.
There you go. There you go. Oh my goodness!
Oh my! So
you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball,
and it worked out. And look who was in, but look who was in goal, Antonio Mirante.
Yeah,
seems like every time Antonio Mirante plays for Roma, he wins and gets a clean sheet. It's crazy.
It is. It is.
It's crazy.
You'd think he didn't play more, but...
Oh, and what a performance from Napoli today, too.
My goodness, they look good. I mean, the one-touch passing on the one goal was brilliant. I mean, Napoli, the way they played today was... I mean, Aldero had a lot to do today, and if not for him, the scoreline could have been, 5, 6, 7, nothing. Really well done by Napoli. This is what we were hoping to see
had
at
a little
midweek.
bit to do, too.
Sure. No, he had, I think, 4 saves or something, but, this is better than what we saw against Juventus in midweek. I thought Napoli did good to come back and play to their potential in this one, and got the result they needed. Sure, 2-0. I mean, to do what they had to keep pace with the big boys. Well done.
I mean, we talked about the 3 they conceded to Crotone but they didn't have Koulibaly, and now Koulibaly comes back into the team. He was vital. Ceane making some saves. Fabian Ruiz was excellent, not just the goal. Pre-Inter in the house. Good to have you with us.
Inter worldwide.
Man, we're getting more Inter guys. Is it because of the top of the table?
It's because we talk so much about Inter and we just love them so much, and I don't know.
We give them more.
They're top of the table. Yeah, we
give them more attention than Sempre Inter, and they're.
I don't know about that, but
we might. I don't know. We might be nicer about them than Sempre Inter.
Maybe, yes. Yeah, I think Neiman and the boys do a lot of content that we don't do, but we may be nicer. I think we may be nicer. Not as critical.
Yeah. So, and just looking at all of this, Osimhen getting on the ball on the.
Good for him. Good goal too.
Again. Yep. Good for his confidence. So, I mean, just a convincing display by Gattuso's men. I mean, they're clearly going to be the team that's ready for one of Milan, Juve, Atalanta to slip up to steal one of those top 4 places. So, just another good performance. I mean, what else can you say? They were clinical today, and then, but also with the threat of what Sampdoria can do going the other way, they dealt with it really well. So, complete team game by Napoli.
Absolutely.
Goals of the week.
Okay, goals of the week. Let's see. So, my honorable mention, like I mentioned already, Caicedo would have been my goal of the week, but his didn't count. So my honorable mentions will be Inter's team goal that Darmian scored, and then Napoli's team goal that Fabian scored. I thought both are brilliant. I love team goals. They didn't quite make my top 5 though. I kind of included the midweek because there's a couple games in there, and I thought some nice goals. So I want to give them some love.
You're cheating again.
I am cheating.
Match week 30, not match week makeup.
It's all right. You
play by your own rules. That's
I do. Number 5, Chiesa's assist in that game in midweek with the Ronaldo goal. It was a brilliant move to get away from Insigne and I think Husai to get the assist on Ronaldo's goal. That was a beautiful assist by him. Number 4, I think is also going back to midweek. It's Lukaku getting an assist from Ashley Young. A wonderful header there. Really well taken. Now coming back to this week, number 3 for me, Junior Traore. I thought a wonderful goal by him. Was it this week? It was midweek, wasn't it?
It was midweek.
It was midweek. I'm sticking with that midweek. I love the midweek.
This is why I stick to the current match week that we're reporting about.
Well, that reason why, because there's only 2 goals I found in this week that I liked. Gigi, I thought his opening goal was really well taken. It was difficult to score that he did, and well done by the Crotone forward. And then the winner for me was Kouame's beautiful assist of Vlahovic on his second goal. Just well done to get it past, well touched to get over the defender and then find Vlahovic for the open goal there. So those are my top 5 there, mostly from the midweek, but nice goals nonetheless.
Well, all of mine are match week 30 goals. So I'm going with Mayoral at number 5.
Okay.
Just for the little move he did to get past the goalkeeper to set that up, and then have the empty net. Kofi Gigi gets in at number 4 for me. Fabian's goal comes in at number 3. Brilliant team goal. Ante Rebic's goal is number 2 for me. I love the turn, nice. To create the space
and the finish.
Yeah, and big fan of the Kulishevsky goal. Just not just the Cuadrado pass, the Kulishevsky finish, but all of the work from all of the players in the penalty area that built up to that, and it helped that it was a very nice finish. Dejan Kulishevsky is my goal of the week.
Okay, wonderfully done. Should we get to the questions now from the listeners?
Let's get to the questions.
All right, let's start from the bottom here. First, from our friend Pouty Saudi, he says, Frank, what's wrong with Hakan? My boy was on fire just a week ago. Unfiltered answers only, please. I'll let you go first. It's right to you.
I don't know if I'm going to be unfiltered. I mean, I don't know if there's. He obviously had an awful spell here for a little while. He's definitely not out of it by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not as terrible as he was previously. I think in this game against Parma, I think he was just ordinary. I don't think there was anything that was there. I don't think there was a wow factor to him in his performance, but I also don't think he was disappointing. Yeah. Is some of this just, contract stuff, and getting to that point, and maybe there's some aggravation here that something hasn't been done. That could be. I mean, you only need to look at what he did for his country in World Cup qualifiers. I mean, he was amazing over the international break, and you're just like, please bring that form back with you. And through 2 games, we just haven't quite seen it.
He's our Bernadeschi.
Now, I don't know about that. Because
he's not.
He was actually really.
That's an insult.
He was really good. For a long period of time here.
Sure.
But it's kind of faded out, and you go and you see him dazzle for Turkey, and then he comes back and he's meh. I got to think that the contract squabble has a lot to do with that.
I think ever since the whole contract thing came up is when his play started going down, and maybe we're looking at him more critically, or I am. He's certainly got the numbers to match any midfielder in the world, including Bruno Fernandes. Everybody's gushing over in the UK, who's just an average Serie A player here. But Hakan still has been for what he's asking for and what that kind of money you're expected to see. We don't see it. He doesn't play like a player to me that who warrants a $7.5 million a year or whatever he's asking for a contract. He's a good player. He certainly is, and he's had great numbers this year. At times he's had really, really great games. Other times he's been very poor. I don't think he was that bad in the Parma matchup, but overall I think the contract has to be not only part of it for him, but I think also for us or me certainly that he's just not meeting the expectation that he wants and what we think entails of the money he's asking for. But I'm so happy to have him. No doubt about that. And I think when he plays like he can, when he's capable of, like we saw with Turkey, he can be a really fantastic player. His free kick ability, his shooting technique and quality is really amazing. Really, I mean, not many people shoot harder than he does. But still, it's still not quite what you would want for a 10, I think. And that's just me trying to be polite as possible about him.
Yeah, you want more consistency out of him. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
so
no doubt. All right, moving on. This one comes from Jake, that Milan fan, says, thoughts on Conte's 4-2-4 system?
4-2-4.
Yeah, so this is the thing about Conte's system, right? And really any formation, whatever they line up with is not necessarily the formation you're going to see throughout the game. They depending on the attack or defense. When Inter are in the attack, it does look like a 4-2-4 because you got the guys pushing up and leaving the two holding midfielders like Brozovic and Eriksen back or whatever. So it does give the appearance of a 4-2-4, but overall it's really a 3-5-2. What we've seen. And then you get a variation of that, when they're in defense, it's probably 5 defenders back there, if not more. So I think that, when we look at formations, we really got to look at it with a grain of salt because there's rarely any team that keeps that same formation all game long because it depends on the situation of the game. It changes up, right? So, what you start with is usually what the midfield play will be when the ball's in the middle. But when you go in the attack, numbers will be up more one way. And then, look at Man City. Sometimes they play with a 1-1-9 or something like that, right? It's because it depends on what the situation is. So I think, when the 4-2-4 is, it's kind of what you expected because you see either the 2 wing backs are pushing up or some of the attacking midfielders are pushing up. And, Inter, when they have the ball, they like to create opportunities, and you have to bring in more bodies to create that in the box. And I think Inter do a very good job of that. But that's my take of the 4-2-4 is just an illusion, not so much an actual.
Yeah,
fact.
I mean, I can kind of see how it morphs into that. Bastoni probably moves out to being a little bit more of a fullback or maybe an advancing, defender. In some kind of role. And Darmian kind of stays home as a right fullback. So there's your 4. And then it's, Young, probably higher, and to the left of Sanchez.
It depends what side the ball's on, right? Because the opposite wing back will stay back to your credit, and the other one to push forward. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can morph into that. Christian Eriksen would kind of be that fourth advancing player. Not necessarily a guy that's going to go terribly wide. Maybe Lukaku goes out there. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Then Brozovic and Sensi tend to hold, but it's not necessarily even that, because we talked about it. Sensi was, coming forward a lot, so it was Brozovic, spending a lot of time behind the play. It was almost like a 4-1-3-2. In a sense.
Absolutely.
That it was just, putting a lot of pressure on Cagliari. I probably would say it was more like that, than a 4-2-4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it has its merits, and you probably can get away with it because of the job that the defenders have been doing this season. I think that they've clearly, they've been the best defense, they're joint best defensive team in the league, like we've been saying here tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can definitely morph into that and put a lot of pressure on the other team. I think that, as we alluded, when they're in that alignment going forward, it's to allow those midfielders to back up the forwards, because they're the team, they're in the possession. The forwards are kind of in spots where they're a little bit more crowded and don't necessarily do the things that they do in counterattacking situations. Right. So you've got guys behind the play that can be dangerous and that can create some things. So that's where it, that's where morphing into that system has its use for Inter.
Absolutely. No, 100%. 100%. All right, moving on. Let's see. Scott Monroe says, Marcelo Brozovic, neck tattoo. Discuss. We've talked in the past about guys like Perotti for Roma with his neck tattoo and Nainggolan's. What do you make of Brozovic's new neck tattoo? It's you can't miss it.
I gotta look at it.
It's I'll just say this. I like tattoos, but I'm not a fan of the neck tattoo or anything above the neck, really. Keep it shoulder and below. I don't mind the arm. I love the arm sleeves and leg sleeves and all that stuff. I got tattoos myself, but anything above the neck and above, it's just not for me, and I don't like it. It's not.
I gotta look
me,
for it.
Hey.
Is it this bomb?
Yes, it literally is a bomb. It literally is a bomb.
Oh.
Man, he is the bomb, but no, stop that.
Do you know that you got to have that shit on you for the rest of your life?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's why I don't have any. That's why I don't have any tattoos. I just I don't want to get something and then I'm 65 years old and I look at it and it's a mistake. Maybe I'm a little old fashioned, but
yeah.
If I ever got a tattoo, it would be like the Adidas leaf. Okay. Down on my, maybe on my lower right leg.
Sure.
Or something like that. But that's it. I'm sorry I'm boring, but yeah, there are times where tattoos can be tasteful, but this is
not for me.
I don't know what you're going for here.
I don't either. So anyway, we'll move on from that. Jake, again with another question, says, does Donnarumma kissing the badge but not penning the contract annoy you?
No.
Look at who's his agent. It's Raiola.
Yeah. This is all gamesmanship. This is all gamesmanship. This is all leverage. There's a lot of things that he's being counseled on by his fat fuck of an agent.
If it was him making the calls, he would have signed a long time ago. But it's not. It's his agent. He paid his agent to get him good money, and this is the reason why these agents are there. And so it's all Raiola. It's nothing to do with Donnarumma.
I think you're talking about a guy who has said that he wants to be Milan captain someday. All right, and this is not. To your point, this is not Donnarumma behavior. This is leverage. This is what you do in contract negotiations. Yeah. It's business. I wouldn't. The contract stuff. I don't take that personally. There's some people. There's a lot of people that get very agitated. You got to go to our friends at Hardcore Italians and get that "You Give Me Agita" shirt. Then, okay. Or send it as a gift to Donnarumma if you're really that upset about it.
Yeah.
So
just don't throw money at him like you did last time, the last contract.
Yeah. It's just this is part of this is the business of doing business. And right now these are just what you're seeing is leverage tactics, mainly from the experienced agent who is counseling his young player into how to manage his way through this contract to get the most money possible from his employer. It's what it is.
It is what it is. All right, the Calcio guys, they ask, thoughts on Vlahovic this season, his growth as a player, and is it still too early to talk about him making the jump to a bigger club as he's only 21 years old?
I complimented his savvy, in the penalty area on the first goal.
Yeah.
You don't often see 21-year-olds having that kind of awareness. He's a big target.
Yeah.
Where he does not fit in the identity of what we like in a modern striker is he maybe lacks some pace. Some of these bigger clubs, if they're going to be looking for a striker, who's our Lukaku? Who can be our Lukaku? Who can be our Zapata? I mean, who can be a real handful, in all of the functions of a striker?
Checks all the boxes, right?
Right, ticks all the boxes. And I don't know if Vlahovic is there yet. There are signs like today that show he's on his way, but there are some physical attributes that I think limit him.
And I think, go ahead. No, go ahead.
He can be a presence. There's no doubt about it. There's some things from a pace standpoint that I think obviously are not there, which could probably hinder him. You're going to have to, tailor your attack around that, and you're going to have to make sure that he is elite in hold-up play, in being able to create for other players. And a guy that's going to get into positions early because he's not going to outrun anybody to a cross or to a spot. He's going to get his goals by finding the right spots in the penalty area early for the crosses or for some of these, for some of these other plays. But a guy like him continue to be the aerial target that he is. Need to be elite in hold-up play. I think he's decent in hold-up play right now. Doesn't hold a candle to what Lukaku can do holding the ball. Not many strikers can.
Sure.
But a guy that can get there. I think a jump after this season is too premature. I want him to stay at Fiorentina. I'd like to actually see Fiorentina get another manager too. Somebody that's going to continue to make the most of his talents,
sure, and
surround him with the kind of playmakers and the kind of attributes that will allow Fiorentina to be successful. But I think that if he, there's areas of his game that he needs to develop before he just makes a jump to a bigger club. Because we've seen young strikers like this, jump at this age when they're not 100% ready. Okay,
yeah.
Piontek comes to mind. Very young at Genoa, made a big splash, still had things to work on, but Milan bought in on him anyway, and made an immediate impact, but eventually got found out, and never got the opportunity to grow into that role, And I don't think you can go to a big club and grow into a role as a young player like Vlahovic. I think you got to grow into your talent where you're at now, and then the opportunity to play at a better club, like in whether it's a Milan or whether it's an Inter or a Roma. I think Roma would be an amazing fit for him if they move on from Dzeko and don't believe in Mayoral for some reason. So
yeah.
But that's where I'm at with Vlahovic.
Yeah, it's similar to what we were just talking about there with Chiesa, right? With Fiorentina, he's there for a while, and then what allows you is when you go to that new club and you're not quite adjusting to it yet, you can still you have the experience now where you can find a way to get yourself into that club, like Chiesa did. All of a sudden, he's becoming one of the better players on that team because of that experience he had at Fiorentina, staying there longer. I think we talked about this last podcast how. Probably an ideal partnership with him is someone like a Christian Kouame because he makes up for what he lacks, and so Kouame brings that pace and he has that he brings you that X factor ability that Vlahovic doesn't bring, and so that's why they look so well together today is because they're an exactly perfect combination for each other. And so if he were to move on, if it wasn't a Roma, I can see a Roma because it would fit into their system because they would have runners that could look like a Kwame or a second striker that comes in because they have so many guys that come in like Mkhitaryan and stuff. Or a team that has a player like a Kwame type, a faster player or a skilled player who could play off of you, as Kwame played with Piontek. That's what Piontek was doing so well, right? The similar type player with Vlahovic.
Yep.
And so you find a team that maybe not the top team like you said, because you want him to get some pitch time. Maybe an upper middle table team that he can get that pitch time, and someone who can have a complement with him, a sidekick, so to speak, and that would be really good for him, I think. And I agree. I kind of want to see him stay at. He had a good season so far. Continue with Fiorentina next season with Kwame, and build upon that. And then if things are really going great, maybe you got to make for another move, because I think I agree. I think he's not quite ready there, but he's got the makings of a good striker. Very savvy today, as you mentioned. His hold up play is good. Could get better. If you want to get to that elite level, you need some more time to practice, get the footwork together, get the small things together. Skamaka's another one. There's a similar situation, I think.
Yeah, I think Skamaka still has some growth and should stay he's another one that should stay at Genoa. I don't think we want to rush these young guys into places where they're forced to be great when they're not ready to be. So
yeah, 100%. Good question, though. Good question.
Yeah, great question.
Okay, another question. This comes from it's at that Milan fan, Jake, again, says, do you see any players from the current relegation sides moving to the top 4 teams? That's an interesting question.
All of Cagliari.
Yeah. That's all their goalies. Cragno, Vicario, anybody, you name it. Pretty much take their whole team and go.
I'm a big Razvan Marin fan. I've been saying that a lot this season. He's someone that definitely needs to land somewhere else and stay in a top flight for his development. Good playmaker, good passer, very, very talented midfield type player. Where I think would be a great destination for him?
Where's that?
It's going to take a little bit of time. It would take a little bit of time for him. But if what Rafa says is true about Fabian going to Real Madrid, Razvan Marin, with time, could fit in at Napoli. And could play in that deeper midfield role, very similar to what he does at Cagliari. He doesn't have the defensive qualities, that Fabian has, but he's a technician, and with time he could be a nice fit for Napoli. Okay, I can't wait for Rafa and those guys to hear this and see if they agree with me. Yeah. But that's a useful destination as an example. Is the Calcio guy in the chat a Napoli fan? Is that why we're getting that reaction right now?
I don't know if it's Adriano, if it's Nick, or if it's Gianni.
Grateful for us complimenting his question.
Either way, all the above.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's look at Cagliari's lineup.
So Vicario is a new goalkeeper. He probably could go if they get relegated. Though he may be good for him to stay. Especially if Cragno goes. He might stay,
but Cragno might go.
Cragno needs to go. Marin, like you mentioned, Duncan is one I think should leave. He could still very serviceable in Serie A. Nahi Hernandez, João Pedro will be an interesting one because he's been there for a long time, but he's still a quality striker. Pavoletti, obviously. Let's see who Giovanni Simeone, he should go. Clavan, Lykogiannis, Cherry. There's certainly a lot of talent on this team that should go to a Serie A team. Maybe not a top 4. If you're looking at top 4, Marin is one that you certainly could go to top 4. João Pedro would be a serviceable striker in one of the top 4 teams. Give you some depth, I think.
Yep.
But outside of that,
where would João Pedro fit?
That's a good question.
Lazio
could work.
Immobile?
Yeah, Lazio certainly could work.
Love to hear Jerry's opinion on that.
Yeah.
He's not happy with Marici. I don't blame him.
Lazio, I do like Lazio. Not so much Roma. Napoli, I don't think. What they got going on right now is either the Smalls or Osimhen, who's very amazing there. João Pedro, I could see him at a Juve. I could see him at an Inter as a backup, or even at Milan. Milan is probably the least likely of the top 3. And I don't see him really at Atalanta either. But certainly Juve and Inter. And Lazio, I like your shot about Lazio as well. Those probably those 3 teams, I think, for me.
Yep. I would say João Pedro. I would say Marin. I would say Rugani. Godin's not going to hang around to play on the Serie B side.
João Pedro over Marici.
Yeah, I would.
Jerry would probably agree with that too.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame them. So, Zappa is decent, but he's one that he's one that would probably stay. They had Duncan, to your point. Pavoletti is up there now, and isn't he up there in age? He's a little older, isn't he?
Yeah.
Let me look.
Yeah.
Their details on Pavoletti. Yeah, he's 32. I mean, who's going to take him? So, I mean, and then the other is you've got Cholito still there on the books at Cagliari that might. He's not. I don't think he's going to want to hang around and be on the Serie B team either. So
no, he's got bigger aspirations than I think than that.
Yeah, so I mean, the Cagliari guys, we made the hot take that if Torino stay up and Davide Nicola is rewarded with an extension or is allowed to stay on, that if they move on from Bellotti, you could see Ceane going to Torino because he got started with playing for he got started playing here in Italy for Nicola. It would be relatively sensible. So, you're looking at these Parma players. There's some decent guys in here.
Mid-table teams, I think, though. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's many players I would put into the top 4 team.
Yeah, I'm not looking at any of these guys for top 4. I'd be looking at these guys for mid-table, to your point, or newly promoted.
We were talking about Roma earlier, and I know they got Mayoral. We mentioned much of names. Cornelius would be a good fit, I think, with Roma, but not much other teams in the top 6 or whatever. Gervinho, he's still serviceable, but not really. Kurtic is all right. Kuchka is all right, but I mean they're mostly a mid-table team. Sepe would probably be of all the group, he'd probably be the most likely to get most pitch time out of any of these teams. I think find a team that can split the role with another goalkeeper, or maybe take their position. Maybe Lazio need an extra goalkeeper. They got a couple guys there that substitute, I guess, if you want to call their okay goalkeepers. But I think Sepe would be a good fit for him at Lazio, I think, as a starting goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, this is the interesting thing with these 3 teams that are facing the drop. They all have good players that can go help somebody else.
Absolutely.
Hernani can help somebody's midfield.
Yeah.
He's decent enough, so that's another one. As far as Crotone, I mean, Simi's obviously the first name, that you would look to. Adam Unas is on the books there. You would think he'd go somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure.
Potentially Junior Messias.
Reccia is not a bad player, but I don't know if he'd be top 4.
Yeah. Reccia would be, another middling type team.
Zaniolato be middle team,
Sure.
Di Carmine. So yeah.
Sure. So yeah,
right.
there's good players. I mean, they could find new homes if they choose not to try to fight it out with the team that they're with, trying to get promoted again. So yeah, no doubt about it.
All right, so last question is from Interfan North at Cambilasso. Says, name a top club that wished they hadn't loaned out a certain player, and who would that player be? Names that come to mind: Rogani, Candreva. What about you? Any names that come out that you think would players would regret? At times this season, I know Milan fans probably regretted giving up Pobega, but I think he's good where he's at.
Yeah.
It's a tough question, I think.
That's a great question. I really can't say.
I know Mandragora or Orsolini I don't think they're still on the books with Juve, but I'm sure had they still been in the books, they would be 2 players that they would love to have on their squad for depth.
I thought they made Orsolini permanent to Bologna.
I think he is, and I think Mandragora as well has been moved permanent somewhere else. But it's interesting.
I'm looking that up right now.
And there's some big time players I think that have moved on as loans. Like Unas has been sold, I think, from Napoli to Crotone. That's a good question. That's a good question. Chelsea with Tamori. Chelsea's probably saying that about Tamori for sure. Sure.
Yeah, and I think I see something earlier in the week that Milan are ready to pick up that option on him.
Good. They need to.
Hopefully that is indeed true. So it looks like he is officially property of Bologna. Riccardo Orsolini as of July 1st, 2019. He's under contract until June 30th, 2023. Yeah, I mean, you stumped me here.
I mean, Cantreva is doing well for Sampdoria, but I think what they have right now,
I don't think Inter
no, they got Hakimi and they got plenty of options over there. So Rugani, I don't think Inter fans are really missing him. They're happy where he's at. He might be somewhere else, but I mean, nobody really wants him.
Well, I'm going to take a look at this and I'm going to deep dive just to try to give this guy an answer because I'm stumped.
Okay.
Let's take a look. I'm going to transfermarket.us. They usually don't let me down with loans. The damn thing would load. So there we are. Mercy.
That's a tough question. Tough question. And so many of the deals these days are loan with option to buy later on, so it's difficult to really judge that. Juve with Berardi potentially, and for sure, if he's still on the books with them.
I mean, if you want to talk about a sold player, I mean, I think Atalanta probably are kicking themselves for selling Timothy Castan.
Yeah.
They've had some issues there at the wingback position, but in terms of loans, there's nobody, in their team that stand out as somebody that they miss. Looking at let's get down to Inter, and I don't think there's a whole lot Inter are going to complain about right now, being where they're at in the table.
Isn't technically Chiesa alone at the moment with Fiorentina?
They are. You're talking about a top team.
Yeah.
There's really nobody that Inter miss at this point.
Typically, the top teams, they loan out guys who are not fitting the system. Typically what it is. When it's a mid-table team or something like that, that's a different story. But it was a top team. Usually, they're loaning out the players that can't get the time in. So,
I mean, you could say Juve could have used Christian Romero,
potentially,
who's technically on loan with Atalanta. Or Cagliari or Lugano, who's out at Cagliari. That's probably another one. We talked about how they've had some, issues with center back injuries. Lazio, there really isn't anybody. If we get down to Milan, you were talking about Pobega. I don't think they missed Leo Duarte.
No.
Napoli, they sold everybody.
Yep.
They didn't really loan anybody out that they, would miss. So, I'll just go with a sale. Atalanta probably, they got an offer from Leicester that they just couldn't pass up. There's somewhere in the neighborhood of 26 million for Castan. You can't get to, you can't sign off on that fast enough. But
I wonder if they are kicking themselves about selling Amadou Traore or not. I mean, I'm sure not because he's so young. He wouldn't get any pitch time. They got a lot of money for him, but that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's a great question.
Yeah,
I'll defer to that. As far as loans, I mean, I think maybe by default the defenders that are that Juve have out on loan, Romero at Atalanta and Rugani at Cagliari, probably. So,
yeah.
But they're not considering their defensive record in the league so far, and like I said, we said maybe they've been a little lucky to be joint top in goals allowed. They don't terribly miss them, but it's by default that those are the two. Those will probably be the two that you're looking at.
Only thing I can say for certain is that what I can say at least for the table stands that the elite are really separating themselves, right? As a podcast title suggests. Inter now they have 11-point lead on Milan, and really the top 7 teams, the Europa League teams or the European qualified teams, they're got a 13-point gap between Roma and Hellas. I mean that's significant. I think we know who the European teams are going to be now for the most part. Just the position is where we're going to question. So, I mean, the elite are really separating themselves, and really the bottom 3, there's starting to be some separation between them. Cagliari at the last spot, and Torino, who's 5 points above them. So things are starting to get into place right now, and I think we're gonna see a lot more teams on holiday time here very soon, with that big gap between 7 and 8, and then now it looks like the relegation teams are almost set. I mean, we still got some time to go, but. Things are starting to shape up about where they're going to be. Just the position, for the teams is the only thing different now.
Perhaps, yeah. I I mean, yeah, it's your standard 7, and it would take a furious charge from Roma at this point to threaten top 4. I mean, I think that Lazio, obviously, if they can win this makeup game with Torino, it gets very, very interesting.
Yeah.
2 through 6. So going to be some very, very compelling games here down the stretch. And a lot of these teams play each other, too, over the next few weeks, which will make it even more interesting.
Yeah.
So Roma took us by surprise, getting a 2-1 win at Ajax. I thought they'd get an away goal for sure. I did not think they would come away and win.
Did I pick that game as a win? I don't remember. I know it was I thought at least a draw for sure, but
I had 2-1 to Ajax, I think. So
I don't know what I
score
picked.
Right. I just had the wrong winner.
Yeah. No, it's good job by Roma there to win at Ajax. Ball boy withstanding. I think Roma did a good job no matter what in this game. I thought, like you mentioned earlier, they played to their strengths and were successful in that. I think Ajax scored first, right? And they put the pressure on Roma, but Roma did really well in this game, I thought, and especially on the road. So we'll see if they can carry that momentum into that second game. It's going to be a difficult game. Yes, they're at home, but nonetheless, Ajax are not a team to scoff at. They certainly got the players. We saw they had a lot of opportunities in the game as well. Obviously, they got veteran players like Tadic, but they got a lot of youngsters who are very good. I mean, everyone's talking about Broberry that they just sold to Leipzig, but if you look at how many goals he scored compared to other strikers on their team, it's peanuts. He's not even closer to top 3 striker for them. So, I mean, they got some talent young talent on their team. So, it's going to be difficult in the second leg. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, they, like I said, carry that momentum and get the 3 points and carry the flag for Serie A. That's all we can ask for at this point.
I'll put them through, but it's going to be a 2-2 draw at the Olimpico. I think it's going to be a goal fest. I think it's going to be a very entertaining game, but I think that I'm going to go at the end of the day 2-2, which sees Roma through to the semifinal.
I like that. It's going to be tight. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a super tight game. I think Roma will do just enough to get through, I think. It's going to be difficult, but hopefully they stand up and take that pressure. Start off better than they started off against Bologna, I guess. So,
Sure.
Yeah, I'll have them go through too.
Sure. Excellent. So that is our Cliff Notes preview of Roma's chances on Thursday to try to qualify for the semifinals of the Europa League. I think we've covered everything, Richard. Let's get on and have a little fun with this now.
All right, let's do it.
You think? All right, it is the world's most popular hashtag game. Who won Calcio Twitter? Richard, lead us off.
All right, so starting it off, it's actually Pouty Saudi kicked it off with after we posted our podcast. He says, you two forgot to preview the Juventus Champions League game. Sure you don't need a moderator? Very good, sir. Very good.
Loves digging on Juventus. It's
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. At at Napoli Sansone, the guy's got a little bit of an ego on him. A massive star has disappeared without a trace. Napoli Sansone retweets and says, Sansone win, Napoli lose.
Very good. Very good. All right. So I won't play the sound on this one, but this nominated by Martino Puccio. But comes from Art Morelli, and it's Juve Merde, and it's basically the Star Wars theme. And he really goes in deep. You really have to read this. I'll read the first paragraph here, but it's basically the Star Wars team. It says Serie B, Calciopoli. I mean, he took his time writing this. So in May 2006, Juventus became one of the 5 clubs linked to the Calciopoli scandal. In July, Juventus was placed at the bottom of the. Okay, it goes on and on. Just read the whole thing. It is brilliant.
It's got this Star Wars music in the background.
Yes,
this is a strong effort.
This is a brilliant effort, I think. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, it's just really great stuff by Art. It's gonna be hard to beat him this week, I think. Well, definitely listen on your own time. It's really great stuff, and I mean, the effort he put into writing this is top notch. Top notch.
This is as creative as it. I mean, Puccio came through with the Hitler Milan era, so he has an appreciation for these kind of things.
Yes.
So, oh wow, okay. Yeah, Art Morelli is a contender. Definitely, no doubt about it. Let's see. Ferrigno is replying to Alex Donno's trying to go back-to-back here, Richard.
He is.
Martino actually, 0 chance we score. And this was on April 8th, and I have to assume this was about his beloved Mets. He'll have to help us out with that. And then Alex retweeted saying, Milan playing today?
Good. Nice work, Alex. Nice work. He's getting on a roll here, huh?
Yep.
All right. So, first nomination, Calafiore is going to be a lot involved in this, but the first nominee is going to go to actually the ball boy for throwing the ball at Calafiore's face. Nice. He gets the first nomination of this batch we're going to have here for Calafiore here, but...
All right, so and then I just decided, I said, all right, with this one, we're going to just ask, okay, Calcio Twitter, get involved, chime in. What is this a metaphor of? We got some responses. The people came through. Let's see. Marsh at fluff_Marsh, Calafiore, dude, right in the face, ball boy. That's what your mom said. Nothing like a sick sexist mom joke, right? Marshmello Fluff is his name is Giovanni. He is a contributor for Awesemo, which is one of the top daily fantasy websites. And he does writes a lot of the soccer articles, and things like that, and gives a lot of the core plays and projections and stuff like that. Helps cover the soccer for that website. So let's see. At Yanimal 1981, Inter winning the title only to have to sell Lukaku to pay for the celebrations. Our friend Michael Lisi at AC Milan. Michael, this is me every time a dumbass rumor like Bernardeschi for Romagnoli swap comes across my timeline. Oh, we got more. At Roma 17, that's a Roman Bukaki. I don't even want to know. My Catholic ears are just bleeding now. Thanks. At Johnny Rules 27, our good friend Johnny Delicoli. Me, 2021 is going to be my year. Reality. Let's see. At El Said Loud. Interfans. Europe. Oh, this year it's going to be different. This is our year. Ball boy. Shakhtar Donetsk. Uncle Sharma backup account at Uncle Sharma. Milan players passing to Castillejo.
Yes.
Do we have more replies? I think we got a couple more.
So there's some quoted. Which one are you on?
At Vutaling. Calafiore is so bad at football that even the ball boy mistook him for a dodgeball player.
There's more. Oh, I see it now. There you go.
Great stuff.
There's a couple of quoted ones now. Let's see. Farino says Milan winning 2-0 for the first time in weeks. Zlatan throw the ball.
Where was that one? Oh,
he quoted it.
You're getting a little further up here?
No, these are the quoted ones. And then he also said Milanisti, we're winning the Scudetto. And the Scudetto says, nope, throwing the ball at your face. That's what Isaid says. Juve players handing Ronaldo the ball when he runs up to take another free kick. Oh, I wish. And then Art Morelli says, this makes no sense. And someone posted like random score lines. Real Madrid against 4-1 against Juve. Real Madrid against 4-3 against Juve. There's all these like random score lines. He's like, this makes no sense. Anyway, a lot of funny ones. Funny ones.
Great stuff. At _Nerazzurri, when Pirlo sees Dybala at practice.
I see that.
Oh my!
How do I find that so funny?
Our Calcio Twitter people came through. They came through big time on this one.
All right. Let's see. Go back to the other normal tweets.
We also have the streaker in the Granada Manchester United game.
Yep.
Calcio Twitter got in on that too.
Yeah, Sansone, Napoli Sansone says, this guy has played more minutes in Europe this year than Inter.
Sansone coming strong. All right, so
let's see.
Calcio guys replying to Juve in Champions League since Ronaldo joined.
A Juve fan saying fair play.
Shake.
Let's see. What else we got here?
Big Sheik bringing it again.
Let's see. Then we did that one. We did Jan, Lisi. All right, did that. All right, let's see. Sansoni says, just realized that I have more nominations for Who on Couch at Twitter this week than Roma has, than trophies by Milan, Inter, and Roma in the past decade.
Rafa is giving Arturo a second nomination. Got my first vaccine dose today. Forza Napoli Sempre with Forza spelled PF.
Like Pfizer, I gotcha.
All right.
Let's see. Milan bangers. It's crazy how good we are when most of the squad is healthy and we don't have to play Casillero. Nice.
Great stuff. All right.
Nice.
So, and then I think our last one is a nominee from our friends at Milan Club Philly, David and the First Lady. Felicissimi tifosi sordi Milan at FTS Milan. Noi tifosi sordi Milan teniamo a cuore la situazione delicata del signor Maresca. Il nostro consiglio è amplifon Parma Milan. And translating that for those of you, we fans of the deaf Milan care about the delicate situation of Mr. Maresca.
Amplifone, it's earpiece for the deaf so they can hear, because he's apparently can't hear.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
That's good.
Oh man,
difficult.
we've got a lot of choices.
Yeah. My goodness. I don't know. If you're in the chat, help us out. This is a difficult one. Man, going through these. I keep looking at this one right here. It's on the screen. I keep thinking it's Edin Dzeko. It's for do fasting or something. How long should you fast to lose weight? It's Edin Dzeko. Anyway.
No. Man. The Calafiore ones, everybody came through and it was all quality.
Yeah.
I think for the artistic impression, the creativity, the effort, I'm going to give it to Art.
I think it is Art.
I think the Juve Merda. I think this is the winner. Wow. And I am going to say that this was one of the best Who Won Calcio Twitter weeks we've had. So once we put that out there for the Calafiore and we asked Calcio Twitter, come on guys, do your funniest on this one, because
it writes itself.
This one's a layup. You guys can all do it, and they didn't let us down, did they?
They did not.
Oh wow. Okay, so congrats. And he's actually back to at Art Morelli, and not Fart Morally or whatever he was before this. Fart. I don't know how you can fart morally anyway. You won Who Won Calcio Twitter.
Well done. Thank you, Adriano, for correcting me. It's Ahmad the Diallo, not Traore.
Yep.
I got the Traores in my head tonight. Goal of the week candidate for midweek. I'm just all infatuated with them tonight, apparently. Oh, no, I can't unsee that streaker as well.
All right, so Art Morelli, I believe this is his second win.
Second or third? Yeah, he's up there. He's getting there.
Yeah, he's definitely he's definitely one of the leaders in the clubhouse. So
Yeah.
we got to go through and count up all the winners.
Yeah,
So,
we do.
I know we're missing some. Zaniolo fan is no longer on Twitter.
Yep.
So that's a shame.
Yep.
Because he is the reigning winner from 2020. But nonetheless, hashtag Who Won Calcio Twitter. You come across something on Twitter, Calcio related, funny, retweet hashtag Who Won Calcio Twitter, so it gets our attention so that we can read it on the next podcast. And again, funny without being offensive. There's obviously a lot of there are regional sensitivities within the peninsula too that we know what they are, and we're not going to read them if you're trying to go there. Just to warn you, that's come up among other things. I think the mom joke and the Roman bukkake is probably the extent of our is probably the extent of where we're going with this. I think we can be funny enough within those boundaries. So So please keep them coming. It's popular. Everybody seems to love it, and we're just going to continue to hammer away at it. So
absolutely.
I think we can put a bow on this edition of Serie Sitdown. Richard, what do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. Before I give my spiel, make sure you go to Hardcore Italians. See the link is here. We'll make sure to tweet it out as well. Go there, buy something, and you'll get a discount also if you use our code AT15, AT15. So make sure you do that, and it helps out the podcast as well. So thank you, and you can follow me as always at R_KHARMAN pretty much anywhere.
Don't be a chooch. Go to Hardcore Italians. Use that discount code and get that T-shirt. Don't be a chooch. I saw that. I said that's my next. That's my next one. Not the you.
Nice.
I should get the you give me a Gita.
You should.
I'll get that one too.
Give it out as a gift.
Yeah.
There you go.
My wife can wear that around the house for me. And I can just look at her and say, yeah, I know I do. I'm at, where's my finger? FTC_21.
Can't help you there, buddy.
That's a bad question.
Who won't catch a Twitter?
I'm at FTC_21. Check me out. Give me a follow on Twitter. I'm happy to throw the banter at the Kelja Twitter types as well. Serie Sit Down, we have our own channel on Apple Podcasts. We have our own channel on SoundCloud. We can be on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Wherever there's podcasts, there's Serie Sit Down. At Serie Sit Down on Twitter or Instagram, all one word. Drop some comments, questions for future podcasts, any ideas. We're all ears. We're happy to listen and happy to talk about them. So, please. We're also on Facebook, but, we're not there very often, but drop a line and we may get back to you in a few weeks. Maybe. So, but we're also on Facebook as well. So we're on all three of those social media platforms for any comments or questions. If you're watching us on YouTube, please drop a like if you enjoyed the content. Please subscribe if it's your first time. This way you are notified about future recordings. We will be here Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. The only time we won't be on 9 p.m. Eastern is when we're potentially on earlier with a European-based guest, which we might do here, Richard, before we wrap this bad boy up. I know we have a couple that are interested, so we just got to get aggressive with getting all that wrapped up. So, chat, thank you very much as always.
Absolutely.
Great exchanging the ideas with you. Thank you for some of your points and some of your takes. And thank you all for listening as always. Be sure you're telling your paisans about us. Ciao.